Up on OU Nightly, President Joe Biden hosts President-elect Donald Trump at the White House. Hear what makes the meeting historic. Plus, Oklahoma Senator James Lankford is elected to a new role at the Capitol. We have the details. And a Norman tradition calls for donations, how you can help food and shelter. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Chloe Arroyo.
And I'm Kennedy Patterson. We begin tonight with breaking news.
A federal investigation by the U.S. Department of Education for Civil Rights finds that Owasso Public Schools failed to protect its students from discrimination and harassment. The investigation began in February after high school student Nex Benedict died a day after getting into a fight in a bathroom at Owasso High School. Benedict was a 16-year-old non-binary student at the high school.
The U.S. Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights discovered repeated instances over a 3-year period when district staff members were told of possible grooming or sexual harassment against students and did not respond adequately or at all. We will continue to follow these developments and keep you updated. And all eyes were on Washington today, where President-elect Trump met with President Joe Biden at the White House.
CNN's Julia Benbrook explains why this meeting is so historic.
President Joe Biden and President-elect Donald Trump meeting in the Oval Office Wednesday.
Looking forward to having like we said, smooth transition.
It's their first sit-down since Trump secured a second term.
Politics is tough, and it's, in many cases, not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. A transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get.
It's a tradition for the outgoing president to host the incoming commander-in-chief after the election. But Trump did not host Biden in 2020, as he fought the election results based on falsehoods about voter fraud. He also chose to skip Biden's inauguration. Following a disappointing loss for the Democratic Party, Biden has been intentional in his efforts to endorse the sanctity of the election and acknowledge Trump's victory.
Campaigns are contests of competing visions. The country chooses one or the other. We accept the choice the country made.
This meeting comes as Biden works to secure his legacy and Trump prepares to take office, tapping loyalists for key positions that offer a glimpse into how certain policies may be implemented. According to people familiar with Trump's plans, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem will be asked to lead the Department of Homeland Security, and sources say Florida Senator Marco Rubio is his top choice for Secretary of State. Reporting at the White House, I'm Julia Benbrook.
As President-elect Donald Trump names new members of his administration, his party gears up to take control of the House. As of right now, AP News says that Republicans hold 217 seats in the House, just one away from the majority.
Besides the historic Biden-Trump meeting, it was a busy day in politics across the country. OU Nightly's Willie Gillespie joins us from the newsroom with details on an Oklahoma senator elected to a leadership position and a recap of cabinet appointments made by President Trump today.
That's right. President-elect Trump has been picking members for top White House and cabinet positions, just announcing he's nominating Florida Representative Matt Gaetz to be the Attorney General. Gaetz has been under investigation by the House Ethics Committee for sexual misconduct and drug use. Trump also tapped former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard to serve as Director of National Intelligence and Fox News host Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense. Oklahoma Senator James Lankford won an unopposed bid to become the vice chair of the Senate GOP Policy Committee, formally joining the Senate Republican leadership team. Now, Lankford represented Central Oklahoma in the U.S. House of Representatives for 4 years before being elected to the Senate in 2014. He replaces West Virginia Senator Shelley Moore Capito, who will now be the chair of that policy committee.
American people have spoken and said we do not like the direction that the country is going, so let's get us back on a better direction. So this leadership team, President Trump, J.D. Vance, we're headed in a direction to be able to get the country back on the track that she is looking for.
It's been a busy day in Washington. Our political team will keep following it. Chloe, Kennedy, Back to you.
Well, thanks, Willie. An investigation is underway after a massive factory explosion in Kentucky. Julia Roberts has that and the rest of today's national and international headlines from the News Center.
Chloe, we know at least 2 workers were killed and several others were hospitalized after a food dye plant exploded in a Louisville neighborhood Tuesday afternoon. At this time, officials says nothing hazardous was released and the cause is still under investigation. A previous explosion at that same location killed 1 person back in 2003. A former government employee is charged after he is accused of leaking classified documents about Israel's retaliation plans against Iran. The Department of Justice alleges the former employee willfully kept and transmitted national defense information. He was reportedly employed by the CIA and had access to sensitive information. The man is due in court tomorrow. And Special Counsel Jack Smith reportedly plans to step down from his position before President-elect Donald Trump takes office for the 2nd time. Smith's investigation into former President Trump's effort overturned the 2020 election and his handling of classified documents led to several federal charges. Trump previously said he would fire Smith if he was to return to the White House, ending all cases against him. And for the holiday shoppers, Amazon has launched a new discounted storefront called Amazon Haul. Amazon says majority of the items are sold under $10. Back to you, ladies.
Thanks, Julia. November has started out pretty wet and we're not even halfway done with the month, which means more opportunities for rain.
Now, after the rain we saw last night, we were left with a sunny day on that walk to class today. Now, OU Nightly meteorologist Sam Patterson is here to tell us how long that sun will last. Sam?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Thankfully, we didn't see a ton of rain last night. We'll take a look at how much rain we'll see in just a little bit. Right now, though, like Chloe said, not too bad outside. 63 in Norman, 64 up in Oklahoma City. Taking a look around the state, Guyman a little bit cooler up at 57. Look behind me, you can see Idabel down at 74 degrees right now. Not too shabby for us across the state, but what we are having a problem with are these winds. Wind gusts right now 25 miles per hour down the I-35 corridor. These will continue for a little bit longer and then they'll clear out by tonight. Coming up, we'll talk about just how much rain we've seen so far this month. We'll be cool and dry for the next couple of days and when our storm chances will return. But again, coming up in just a little bit.
All right, thanks, Sam. See you back in a bit. As that cooler weather starts to hit Oklahoma, the Circle K International organization is giving back to those who need it most. Colder weather means more layers. To help out, CKI met to make scarves for the local homeless community. By using fabric from blankets, they are able to give back to the Norman community.
They've done so much to OU community, and we feel like making a contribution to giving back to what they've done is something that we really value here at OUCKI.
The scarves will be donated to the Norman Food Shelter. CKI will continue to host events throughout the year to give back to the community. Now, still ahead, large wildfires threaten the Northeast and the death toll is rising.
We'll give you the latest update and the cause behind the natural disaster.
And as OU prepares for its final home game, campus is going out with a bang.
Find out where and how when we return.
Emma, did you hear?
Todd's in the hospital.
Who's Todd? He got a collapsed lung from vaping. He thought it was cool.
Not cool.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. It can lead to a lifelong addiction, and we can't be friends if your lungs collapse.
Bogus.
Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
Hey, you got a minute?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed.
When we have the food we need, we are at our best. We push further. We rise higher. we unlock our full potential. When we have the food we need, we make our communities stronger. Together, we can help everyone get the food they need to thrive. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Water is our most precious resource and something that should be conserved and used wisely. Here are some water conservation tips you can try. In the kitchen, collect the excess water you use to rinse produce and use it to water houseplants. Also, soak your pots and pans instead of letting the water run while you scrape them. Water is life. This message was brought to you by the City of Norman.
Major drought in New England sparks wildfires to erupt in New York and New Jersey. Plus, how a Minnesota landfill is converting trash to energy. Colson Pocock has the details in Earth Report.
Right now, firefighters in New York and New Jersey are working to contain a spreading wildfire. Officials say an 18-year-old volunteer firefighter was killed. The fire has burned at least 5,000 acres and is about 30% contained. Officials say the region is experiencing a historic drought, allowing conditions to fuel the fire. A volcano erupts on a remote island of Indonesia, killing at least 10 people and dumping ash on towns and villages. Mount Loatobi Laki-Laki became active last week before spewing 6 miles of hot ash into the sky over the weekend. Major Australian airline companies grounded flights to Bali due to safety concerns after the eruption. Thousands of Australian tourists are reportedly stranded in Bali's airport. A landfill in Minnesota is turning trash into energy by introducing a geothermal cell. This cell is a series of underground pipes that take heat from landfill trash and convert it to energy. County and landfill officials say they plan on building a facility to convert wastewater from the landfill into energy within the next 2 years. And 2024's last supermoon is coming up. If skies are clear, Oklahomans have a chance to catch a glimpse of the phenomenon through Friday night. Kennedy, Chloe.
Thanks, Colson. Though OU Wesley is at it again with big news for the last football game at home. From smashing cars for Bash Texas Week to a new deal with ESPN, the Wesley announced that ESPN will be recording a podcast in their front yard for the game against Alabama. Fans are encouraged to attend to watch the podcast as well as enjoy free food and games.
We have a little porch area that is going to be adjacent to where they are actually doing the podcast. And so it'll be a great place to be able to go inside, get some food, come and sit down, watch the podcast as they kind of do it, and then hang out before you go to the game.
The podcast will be hosted before the game at the OU Wesley across from Dale Hall.
Now looking for ways to give back to the holiday season? Well, you are in luck.
Find out what a local organization needs to make Thanksgiving special for all.
And we are tracking another round of storms. We'll take a look at that and more coming up right after this.
Ritual, that small thing that keeps us focused. A habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game, to drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Water is our most precious resource and something that should be conserved and used wisely. Here is a water conservation tip you can try. In the bathroom, if your shower can fill a 1-gallon bucket in less than 20 seconds, replace the shower head with a water-efficient one. They are cheap, easy to install, and can save you up to 750 gallons a month. Water is life. This message was brought to you by the City of Norman. Water is our most precious resource and something that should be conserved and used wisely. Here is a water conservation tip you can try. In the bathroom, turn off the water while you brush your teeth. You'll save about 4 gallons per minute. That comes out to about 200 gallons a week for a family of 4. Water is life. This message was brought to you by the City of Norman.
you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Halfway through the month of November, and rain has been the name of the game. If we take a look over here, you can see our rainfall totals over the last several days. This is individual days up in Oklahoma City. Back on Sunday the 3rd, a record day of rainfall, 3.34 inches there. Several other days of at least an inch of rain as well. The 2nd, 3rd, and 4th was that severe weather outbreak that brought several tornadoes with it, to central Oklahoma. Let's take a look at total rainfall for the month. Down here in 4th place already, 2024. Again, we are 13 days in. We have 17 days to go, and we're already the 4th wettest November of all time for Oklahoma City. More rain coming up this weekend. We'll take a look at that in just a minute. But hopefully we won't touch 1931's 9.6 inches of rain. But I wouldn't be surprised to break 1902's record of 7 1/4. Live look outside right now. Thankfully, sunny skies and clear, no rain for us to speak of. As of right now, 63 degrees, feels like 63, thankfully. That wind, though, still 20 miles per hour out of the northwest. That will decrease as we move throughout the overnight hours, but what will also decrease are the temperatures. It's going to be in the low 40s for us tonight here in central Oklahoma. Average is about 40 degrees this time of year, so nothing too crazy out here. But if you look up towards the northwest, besides Guyman, several other places pushing freezing, and we have some frost advisories out for the majority of northwestern Oklahoma. So if you got any kiddos taking the bus in the morning, be sure to send them on their way with a jacket. Temperatures going to be around freezing. Now, I mentioned we have a chance of rain coming up this weekend. Let's take a look at that right now. Right now, Saturday, 1 p.m., we'll take a look into the future out towards Los Angeles and Las Vegas. You can see a low pressure system starting to build in, bringing a lot of cold air for the northwest, the Pacific Northwest, I should say. That low really starts to spin up in northern Mexico, I should say, as it moves towards New Mexico. Several rounds of rain possible early Monday morning. As that continues off to the northeast, several rounds of rain will be possible for us on Monday. Now, we don't have specific totals, but upwards of ½ inch of rain could be possible with this system as it makes its way on through. And then right after that, you can see the low makes its way off further towards the northeast. Colder air will get pulled on down here towards Oklahoma. So next 6 to 10 days will be a few degrees below average. Thankfully, not above average, but it's going to be a little bit on the colder side for us here as we move throughout the next several days. Highs on Thursday, mid-60s for us. Not too bad here in Oklahoma. Next 7 days, pretty much the same story there. Mid-60s until we get towards the weekend. Push 70 for just a minute on Sunday, and then we'll bring rain chances right back with us. So if we want to say anything about November, it's going to be wet, and that's about it.
Well, we're definitely going to enjoy those last few sunny days before we get struck back with rain.
Absolutely.
We'll take it while we can. Thanks for the nice weather for the next few days.
Of course.
Appreciate it, Sam. All right, Norman Food and Shelter is asking for the community for food donations for its Thanksgiving lunch. The shelter is expecting to feed 1,500 to 1,800 people. Jess Alvarez, the kitchen manager, says they have about 75% of what they need, but could still use some more turkeys, and hams, eggs, butter, or cooking oil, seasoning, and celery. Now, Alvarez says gatherings like the lunch gives people more of a sense of community during a time of the year that can be pretty lonely.
Even if they don't want to receive a meal, they can come and help serve and sign up to help with setup, drinks, rolls, cleanup, but it's just being together. Togetherness. Thanksgiving is all about being together.
Food and Shelter's Thanksgiving lunch will take place on November 28th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it is a busy week for some Sooner pros.
And one former Sooner is receiving an NFL honor. Our Hallie McPherson has that story and more coming up in sports.
And the early bird took the worm this morning. OU women's basketball hit the floor with a full house. We will have a full report from the Lloyd Noble Center next up in sports.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut, the one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Water is our most precious resource and something that should be conserved and used wisely. Here are some water conservation tips you can try. In the kitchen, collect the excess water you use to rinse produce and use it to water houseplants. Also, soak your pots and pans instead of letting the water run while you scrape them. Water is life. This message was brought to you by the City of Norman. Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
I'm Hallie McPherson, and it's time for sports. The OU women's basketball team hosted Western Carolina this morning. OU Nightly sports reporter Jack Horan has all the details on the win.
The Oregon State transfer Reagan Beers was unstoppable against Western Carolina. She had 11 points in the first quarter and ended her day with 27 points and 9 rebounds. Both Van sisters played well. Skylar had 15 points, and Zaya gave 12 points off the bench. The scoring came early and often for the Sooners as they defeated Western Carolina 122-56. It was also field trip day here at the Lloyd Noble Center, and in front of 6,000 kids, the Sooners appreciated a little extra help from the stands.
Yeah, well, obviously it's very loud, but it gives us energy. That I said it before, but that's what it's all about. Like these games, this is one of my favorite games of the whole year. Yes, it's early, downfall, but that's what it's about. And we might have been able to inspire some little girl or some little boy to go on and play basketball, and that's really important to me personally. And so being a positive influence, positive role model, that's what it's all about.
The 122 points scored today set a program record. Reporting from the Lloyd Noble Center, Jack Horan, OU Nightly.
Thank you, Jack. And the Sooners added on to their squad today as 5-star point guard Keziah Lofton put the pen to the paper, signing with Oklahoma from Bethany High School, joining her old teammate and current Sooner, Zaya Van. The Thunder are back in the Paycom Center tonight, coming off a big win for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams, combining for 73 points against the Clippers on Monday, making them 9-2 on the season. The Pelicans will fly to OKC for 6:30 tip-off in the 405. Keeping it in the pros and into Los Angeles territory, Austin Reeves and the Lakers look to bounce back against the Memphis Grizzlies. After the Grizzlies gave them a 17-point loss last week, the purple and gold look to stay undefeated on their home court tonight at 9. Another Sooner pro, Kyler Murray, earned the NFC Player of the Week award after an elite performance leading the Cardinals to an impressive 31-6 win against the Jets on Sunday. Murray finished with 2 touchdowns on the ground, one passing for 287 total yards. Oklahoma volleyball is looking to keep their win streak alive. The Sooners had an impressive weekend in Mississippi, defeating Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Next up, they host a midweek matchup against Texas A&M tonight at 7. Kennedy, Chloe?
All right, well, thanks so much, Hallie. Now, researchers make a new discovery right here in Oklahoma.
Find out the name of the species that's causing the buzz when we return.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing that keeps us focused. A habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game, to drown out the self-doubt and to support your mental health? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
We said we'd never break the 3-second rule. Never do that. And never become a minivan mom.
Hey, Chris.
As parents, we say never a lot, but never happens. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock.
Emma, did you hear?
Todd's in the hospital.
Who's Todd? He got a collapsed lung from vaping. He thought it was cool.
Not cool.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. It can lead to a lifelong addiction, and we can't be friends if your lungs collapse.
Bogus!
Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
Hey, you got a minute?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Ariana Gamboa with an update from Kiowa County in southwest Oklahoma, where a train derailed this afternoon. Oklahoma Highway Patrol and the Kiowa County Sheriff's Office says no one was hurt after 5 train cars overturned near the town of Lone Wolf. Officials warn drivers along Highway 44 to be aware of cleanup equipment in the area. The cause of the derailment is still under investigation. Chloe Kennedy.
Well, thanks, Cariana. Now, a rare discovery has been made right here at the university. A blue-colored bee is believed started its own family tree. Excuse me, this is so exciting. Nearly 12.6 million years ago.
The Andrena androphobia is unlike anything of its kind, not only because of its color, but attraction to tomato plants. The bee's recent finding is not only uncommon, but a testament to the Sooner State's richness in biodiversity.
All right, guys, let's get down to some business here and talk about some weather. Good old weather.
There's an old nursery rhyme, rain, rain, go away. If you haven't started singing it, start now. We got more rain on the way. Already almost 7 inches this year. You can see our 7-day forecast. It's going to be pretty clear the next couple days, but another inch of rain possible as we move throughout this weekend. So.
Gosh, that's crazy for November.
Yes.
It's starting to feel more like spring than fall to me.
Yes, it really is. More storms than rain. It's a wild concept, but hey, that's Oklahoma.
It's Oklahoma. At the end of the day, it's Oklahoma. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much, Sam. And thank you for watching OU Nightly. I'm Chloe Arroyo.
And I'm Kennedy Patterson. We'll see you back here at 4:30 tomorrow. Have a good night.
Hate is loud. It gets clicks. It gets attention. Hate, however, is actually quite small.